Hey everybody. Please excuse my appearance. I'm still recovering from being sick and everything. But I saw a video that I had to comment on. Well, I kind of left a comment in text, but I noticed that, my grammar and misspelling and typos and stuff was really bad, and I couldn't say all I wanted to say in text, so I figured, I'll make a video response on this as well. As many of you know, this is very dear to my heart, this particular subject about the homeless, because my husband Kurt works there full time. He's worked there almost 12 years when his parents, his stepdad and his mom, started the ministry, and it's just, oh my gosh. I mean, if it happens in Texas and it's not fought, who's to say it can happen here or somewhere else? I mean, my church, in the mornings that we go to, also help out with the homeless people or families that aren't necessarily homeless, but because they're trying to pay their utilities and stuff, and can't afford to go get groceries, and they're struggling and hungry, but they have the facilities, and we've been blessed with the money to be able to add on to our building that has a big kitchen and stuff. So we have the facilities and stuff that's needed to do that sort of thing. But people that are trying to do the best that they can with the resources that they have, that aren't as blessed as we have been with my church or Pop and them, God's met their needs. And not to say that he won't meet the needs of these other people whose hearts are in the right place and want to help. But then the government steps in and these other people and says, you have to have a permit to just hand out food? Oh, that really irritated me when I heard and saw that video. Because it's like this. I know firsthand it costs thousands of dollars to run a shelter. Where my utility bill might be in the hundreds, or a little less than 100, that same utility bill for Mom and Pop to run the shelter has run in the thousands. It's a bigger building. It's a lot more people in and out of that building and everything, so it makes a big difference. And not everybody can afford that. Not everybody has the resources to be able to afford something like that. And they're trying to do the best they can with what they have. And here, the government's going to step in and try to stop them? That just irritates me. Because we've got so many other people out there that have misconceptions about the homeless, that don't want to help, that think that they come in and help a ministry once a year. Oh, I've done my job my job for the year, or something like that. That kind of mentality. We see that a lot at the Compassion Center. And here we have a couple who's wanting to help and devote their time in the evenings every day. Oh, this gets me so bad. It's just like, I'd hate to show this to Kirk and Mom and Pop and them, because then again, they might not be surprised. I mean, they see more than I see of, people's attitudes and stuff in general. But yeah, I mean, the government seems to be trying to control a lot of that. Something a lot of people are not aware of either is that there's a lot of the shelters that, what few are available, that are being controlled by the government. To keep them running, they have to accept government funding, government money. But in order to accept the money, they've had to sign a contract or some kind of paperwork. And in the fine line, you got to read every little detail in the fine line. There's stipulations on what you can do, what you can preach, and so on. And so it really limits and controls the ministries. And Mom and Pop, because of that reason, refused government funding. They accept personal donations only, or it comes out of their pocket, much like the couple said. It either comes out of their pocket or it's personal donations that other people have donated for the cause and for what they're wanting to do with it. Helping these people out, or donations that are given to them to sell in the store, and they use the money and the profits for the utility bills. Like I said, it can run in the thousands. Shortage of food, shortage of toys when they do the toys, or the during Christmas time. They've had shortages too when they hand out school supplies about time school starts. Stuff they also do something like that throughout the year. So they do more than just feed 3 meals a day, give shelter every night, have Bible study, drug and alcohol program where the guys work there and get food and shelter as well. People don't realize the extent of what it takes to start something like this. And those that don't have the facilities, they don't have the means to do more, as much as they would love to do more, they're doing what they can with what they have, and the government's going to step in and stop them. That just, I think you get the general idea. Okay, I've calmed down a little bit, but I thought of something else that I had forgot to mention. And I mentioned it a little bit in the text comment, and that was about the government's idea of helping. I know here in our state they've talked about it before, and I think they've been talking about it again, of the government opening up a shelter of their own. And as good as it sounds, what people aren't realizing is a lot of these homeless people are wanting a place that is safer than the streets. And the government, when they open their shelter, they don't want to enforce any rules. They don't want to do that for a reason, and I can understand that. There are some of the homeless who don't want to go in these shelters because they don't want to follow any rules. Mom and Pop, because it is a ministry, they enforce rules. You can't come in with weapons, you can't come in drunk, you can't bring in alcohol or drugs or anything like that. The women and the men are not allowed to talk to each other, associate with one another, and it's for their safety. We got a lot of people, familiar faces, who return back to the center because they feel safe there. There's a lot of women who get a, how do I put it nicely? They get the men asking them, or hitting on them and things like that, thinking that, just because they're homeless and they're on the streets, that, well, I think you get the point without me saying it. But that's the reality of it. They want a place that's safer than the streets. That's why they go to most of the people go to these shelters, because they're looking for somewhere safer than the streets. And we do have a place here that they can go to during the day. Kirk says kind of like a homeless daycare, but they don't enforce any rules there. Drugs are allowed, alcohol is allowed, weapons are allowed, and the women don't feel comfortable or don't want to go there because of the fact that they, like I mentioned, they get hit on, to put it nicely. And that's the government's idea of helping out. They want to open up another shelter, or open up a shelter of their own without enforcing rules. And people just aren't going to feel safe there.